To this now, the Free State High Court has granted the National Prosecuting Authority a 32 million rand preservation order against asbestos-accused. Included in the court order is a luxury Mercedes-Benz G63 AMG allegedly purchased in cash for 2 million rand, a symbol of the lavish lifestyle funded by illicit gains. And joining us for more on this conversation, we are now joined by National Prosecution spokesperson Mthunzi Mhaga, and he joins us now via our video link. Mthunzi, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. I mean, let's start off here. We saw the Free State High Court granting the NPA that preservation order of 32 million rand. Perhaps let's start off by stating whose assets will be seized in this matter.
Good evening, Bali, and good evening to your viewers. Indeed, there is a 32 million worth of assets. That is 6 immovable properties and 1 Mercedes-Benz that you described. And I need to mention that it was bought cash for 2 million rands. These assets belong to the late Mr. Mbambani, his wife, Mr. Khadebe, and his siblings, together with entities that are owned by the individuals that I have just mentioned. I need to also clarify what some in the media have been peddling, that these assets are linked to Mr. Isma Hasule and Mr. Adv Mthunzi. That is inaccurate and misleading. Mr. Mthunzi's assets were part of a restraint order that was granted to the NPA in 2020.
What does this then also mean, Mthunzi, when it comes to recouping some of the monies lost? And these are monies from the state, and of course, this being for services which were never rendered.
What I need to mention is that once they have 14 days within which to challenge the preservation order that was obtained on 13 March 2025. If they do not object or challenge it, we have 90 days within which to approach the same court to confirm and finally forfeit same to the state. The property will be sold in an auction, and any money realized from that will be deposited into a criminal asset recovery account managed by the Director General in the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. When victims are identified for the crimes that they allegedly committed, the money will be paid to those victims.
And Mthunzi Mhaga, I mean, when you look at this case, I mean, we know we are questioning at least 255 million rand of state money that was meant for the upgrading of roofs for a community in the Free State. And when you look at this money and when you follow the money, of course, we know that you have dealt with one of the accused, Adv Mthunzi. What happens then in this instance as well when you continue to follow the money? Do we know where else did this money go?
In total, we allege that the money that was siphoned from that department is about 255 million. So far, we have freezing orders that I think total to close to 300 million. The one that was restrained against Mr. Mthunzi and 5 others, and the 32 million that has been now preserved in respect of the individuals that I have mentioned, Bambani, Khadebe, the siblings, the wife, and the entities that they own. It forms part of that close to 300 million. But I need to then make a distinction between the 32 million relating to the preservation order and the other over 200 million that was restrained. In respect of the 32 million, there is no need for the NPA to wait for the criminal prosecution to be concluded. We will, once they don't oppose it or they oppose it and they lose, in a civil part of the proceedings, take the money to the state without waiting for them to be convicted. That's a Chapter 6 of Poker Act proceedings. But in respect of the other restraint order of 2020, we will unfortunately have to wait for them to be convicted. Okay. If they are acquitted, then we'll have to pay back or take back those assets. If they are convicted, we will then take the money and pay it into the criminal asset recovery account.
And when it comes to specifically then, Mthunzi, the 32 million rand in which you speak of because of this preservation order, has the people you have mentioned, have they come forward, to voluntarily hand over some of these assets?
No, they have not. The opportunity that presents itself is for them within 14 days to file papers that are challenging the preservation order, or papers that say we abide by the court's decision. Whichever decision they take, it will inform how the proceedings are to shape up. But currently, the properties will be preserved, be under the control of the curator that has been appointed whilst the proceedings are still underway.
All right, then, Mthunzi, thank you so much for giving us that clarity. That's Mthunzi Mhaga, NPA spokesperson, giving us clarity in terms of that 32 million rand preservation order, which has been granted by the Free State High Court. Of course, this is in connection to the asbestos case, and the case itself being worth 255 million rand of taxpayers' money.